Right now, as we look at a map of where the candidates are going this week, it usually tells a story, and this does. President Trump, former President Trump in Pennsylvania today, as well as Vice President Harris. And then you've got North Carolina, you've got Georgia, the former president going to Minnesota, and then Vice President Harris in Nevada and as also Arizona. As we look at the new battleground state polls, you can see just how tight this is. This is the Real Clear Politics average of all the polls, and Trump with the lead in Arizona. And you can see it's all within 1-2 points all over the place. And if you look at the national head-to-head, this is the average of recent polls. There you see 49.4 to 47.2. That's where we stand at this hour. Let's bring in our panel. Byron York, chief political correspondent of the Washington Examiner, Democratic strategist Kevin Walling, and Katie Pavlich, news editor at townhall.com. You know, Katie, it does seem like we portrayed this race as Rust Belt and Sun Belt, and they may be splitting, and it may be happening before our eyes, a little bit of separation for both of them.
It looks like a national race. I mean, these candidates are not focused on one area, they're focused on all over. And when you look and dive deeper into the polling, it's interesting to see which coalitions each candidate is trying to lock up. Kamala Harris is headed to Arizona, where she is losing Hispanic voters, and that is an issue with illegal immigration that she's tried to run away with. Also, I think that you're looking at the numbers in terms of independents who have not decided who they're voting for in all of these swing states. No matter which belt you're looking at, their still top issue remains the economy, and they are not satisfied with Kamala Harris and her answers of saying, just trust me and what I'm going to do versus how you felt and what your life was like 4 years ago under Trump.
Kevin, Vice President, her team accepting invitation for a second debate, saying the American people deserve another opportunity to see Vice President Kamala Harris and Donald Trump debate before they cast their ballots, although they're casting ballots now. It would be unprecedented in modern history for there to be just one general election debate. Former President saying there have been two, because Biden and Harris, and he says it's too late in his mind. I wonder, for the people in the Democratic side that I talked to, who say, why would she do that? She had the win in her mind and in a lot of pundits' minds. Are they seeing something that we're not seeing as far as the need for a second presidential debate?
Yeah, Brett, it's a great question. I think the need is there in terms of reintroducing herself to large portions of this population. No other event is going to be on the same scale as that first debate between the vice president and the former president that saw 70 million viewers tune in. She needs that moment once again. Again, these stops on the campaign trail, these rallies are all critically important, the interviews that she's doing. But on a large scale, you have, the vice presidential debate next week. But beyond that, there aren't that kind of large viewing events. And she's eager to take on Donald Trump, certainly again.
May change. We can't say that the former president doesn't change his mind. He has changed his mind before, but it seems like he's pretty definitive at this point, Byron.
He does, and she needs it because nothing has really moved the needle a lot in this whole campaign. Our Fox News national poll came out last week, Harris up 50 to 48. The month before that, August, same poll, Trump up 50 to 49. And before that, which was before the big switch in early July, Trump was up 49-48. Nobody below 48, nobody above 50. So you've got this tiny band of possibly persuadable voters in there, and you have two hunkered down, locked in groups on either side, and both candidates are going to see if there's some way they can chip away the other side.
Usually, obviously, Katie, elections come down to the U.S. economy, how people feel around the kitchen table. But Wall Street Journal editorial board, Biden leaves his successor a world of disorder. President Biden will address the United Nations on Tuesday in what is likely to be his last big moment on the world stage. It is a far more dangerous world than Mr. Biden inherited, far less congenial for U.S. interests, human freedom, and democracy. Addressing this gathering storm will be difficult and dangerous. Whoever wins the White House will have to abandon the failed policy of the Biden years, lest we end up careening into a global conflict with catastrophic consequences. Speaking of which, the AP writes this headline, U.S. sending more troops to the Middle East as violence rises between Israel and Hezbollah.
Well, it shows that the comments from the vice president during the first debate that there are no U.S. troops in combat zones remains to be untrue, and that has still not been corrected by the hosts of the first debate. But the argument against second Trump presidency has always been from the left that we don't want chaos, we don't want things to be crazy. Well, the world is in a very, very dangerous place. You have this new war in Hezbollah in the north, in Lebanon, in the north of Israel. The Biden administration continues to argue that we don't want to escalate. Where the real issue is Iran, and this administration has really done nothing to stop them from fomenting additional escalation into something that the next president will certainly have to deal with.
President Biden, Kevin, had world leaders in Delaware, not the White House, in Delaware, and his critics say he does not instill confidence. These are not deep fakes or cheap fakes. This is him talking with those leaders in front of reporters this weekend.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
It was Prime Minister Modi was next from India. And so, there are people like former Congressman Gallagher who say, that's a potential problem.
Well, listen, that Quad meeting was important. I think it was meaningful to all the leaders invited back to his residence and to have that there at his high school. But certainly, I think you're going to see the president in these last few months of the administration focus on what's tangible around the world, right? Double down on in his speech tomorrow about alliances and the importance of alliances, working towards a Middle East peace, of course, made much more difficult by what's going on right now in that region. Obviously, you had the Abraham Lincoln there. You had the Harry Truman on its way. To your earlier question to Katie about troop movements in the region. But these are tangible things that a lame duck president can do on the international level when you can't really get anything done on the domestic level. But certainly, you're going to still have some of those gaffes that he's very famous for.
Yeah. It's quite something to watch because there are hot spots all over the world, and we're watching them all. Panel, thank you very much.
Right.
Tomorrow on Special Report, our Common Ground segment with Senators John Fetterman and Katie Britt on bipartisan efforts to protect children from the harms of social media. That'll be one to watch. Remember, if you can't catch us live, set your DVR, 6 p.m. in the East, 3 p.m. on the West Coast. Thanks for inviting us into your home tonight and every night. That's it for this Special Report. Fair, balanced, and still unafraid. The Ingram Angle starts now.